Hello everyone, welcome back to Star Ocean, the second story. The only thing we have left to do is just talk to the king, but after everything that we've done, is it going to be that simple? This music really works because it's subtle. Until it does that. That overall sting, I just don't feel... I don't know, it just doesn't feel right, but then it leads into, like, actually escalating the song a little bit more. So we're a bit hamstrung at this point. We're being considered refugees. We're going to be held up in the castle until... what exactly? Until they come? Until we have to deal with some demons on our own terms? Not really sure. The other thing about this situation is the castle town has completely changed in terms of what is available to us and what isn't. Because what isn't available to us is most things. None of the weapon stores are available. Only the food store guy is available there, but he doesn't sell to us. Even the skill guilds, they're not here either. If you go into any other part of town, they're also not there either. The inn isn't there. Sophia and Gamgee aren't there. It's like, yeah, just go to the castle. It's nice to see everybody, like, put into a separate place there, especially when you're looking at pickpocketing, because, hey, they're in a different position, which means that all of these people that you pickpocketed before, you can pickpocket again. Choose wisely, Claude. Choose wisely. And Rena in for the save. Rena's exchange here is a lot less interesting because it's just, hi, I'm Rena, this is my party, we're here from Arlia. We move on with the things there. But because of what Claude did with the tournament and everything, it feels a little bit better to do that way. We can go all the way back to the arena if we so choose, but the strange thing about it is if you actually bothered to go that direction, there really isn't anything there for you, and frankly, you don't really need a spot in order to rest up at this point. Gamgee does give us plate mail, and gives it in both playthroughs, which is just, hey, better armor, I'll take it. All the weapon people are around here as well, if you care to go and find them. There's our skill guild man. He can't even do it. He can't even be a mobile person. All right. A little tiny bit to the left, but not all the way there. It really isn't worth it in order to do that. Because again, if you go back to the arena, it isn't really showing you like other people are kind of resting up at the arena. You'll get a couple fighters who are saying, hey, why can't we fight too because we're fighters? But other than that, it's frankly empty and people are just still thinking about the tournament when you go over there. I want to hide with all the food. If it feels like you're kind of a bit aimless in terms of what you're supposed to do in the castle, that's because it's meant to be that way. Just kind of checking in with everybody who is around in the castle, being considered refugees. There's not a lot new, apart from NPCs being in different places, except that the king's room is open. This is, I believe, the only time that it is open, too. So, the weapon sellers are apparently just, like, very fascinated by the desk and the bed, and sure. It is your opportunity to get 10,000 full, though. So if you miss it, you miss it. Now, depending on if you did Celine's private action with Chris, either you'll have these two other NPCs, these are the people from the Red House, in here, or if the princess is still in the castle there, she will just still be there, and those two NPCs actually won't be there. They'll be somewhere else. Won't leave the room yet. We need to know the murmurings of what is being done on the front line, the weapon that is apparently being manufactured. I love those emblems that are over on either side there, the three swords pointing together there. It's something I would have made in like 6th grade. I'm missing some context about who Benzine is, or what Benzine is. Does he take benzene? Does he see the future? I'm sorry, dude. Of all the places to go, we do need to descend into the laboratory once more. Because it's here where we just kind of stick our nose where it doesn't really belong. But again, where's the king in all of this? We haven't seen him yet. Well, at least they're being responsible about thinking about the weapon. Because technically, even if you don't have material for withstanding that case, it can be used once. It will just destroy itself in the process. Wandering, being aimless. Alright, how are we getting ourselves out of this one? Through recognition. See, of all the soldiers who were just like super excited to watch the tournament there, we get the one who does not know at all. What's the chances of that? Saves us having been run through by a spear. Yep. Please tell us more. Oh, sure we can. I'm sure we can scrounge up a couple more private actions in order to waste our time even more. But we have to continue the main story at some point. Yeah, let's talk about how this child is not capable of keeping state secrets to himself. Everybody knows that. Yeah. But with resources thin, can we send a child alone? No, of course we can't. If we do this, maybe we can accelerate actually doing things that we need to do. I would love a situation where Leon was over in the Hoffmann Ruins alone, to be completely honest. Because, well, we'll learn a little bit about, it's like, hey, what if? How successful would he be if, in terms of going off on his own, mechanics-wise, I will say. Now here's the thing. If you have Bowman with you, this goes slightly differently. Especially when vouching just for Claude being the second place winner maybe is less likely to be believed in terms of making everything smooth. It also gives Bowman valuable backstory. Jeez. But it also shows that Bowman can just take the punch and roll with it. Suddenly, he says. But yeah, instead of Leon blabbing about it, Bowman actually does the talking in this case. If there was some way to really just integrate both sides there, of Leon blabbing and Bowman kind of backing up what he's saying there, I think this scene would be a little bit stronger in this case, but we're gonna get what we get. He'll blab about everything else, but he won't say what the material actually is. Oh, well, it's an ore. The name of the ore? Still gonna keep it to ourselves. Again, this is a really odd scene where Bowman kind of just takes the lead. Because I will say, it doesn't happen very often, and in terms of the game's overall structure, it'd be great if other characters kind of got the same level that Bowman was receiving right now. But I can't say that's going to happen. So yeah, Claude pretty much just says, well, we need to get to L. If we accompany and help out with the Cur Hope, can we get a boat? Versus Bowman going like, okay, we've eavesdropped, we're in this position here. Our punishment is to go in order to help out here. And then ultimately, hey, maybe we can come back in order to continue on what we're doing here, but this is going to be a side thing that we need to do. But no matter what, Leon doesn't like it. So regardless of the perspective, Leon will give you what's called the Link combo, which is a unique accessory. And with that, we get our next party member, too. Our second child has entered the party. Again, nobody's going to tell us the name. Like, oh well. Maybe it's because this guard is not supposed to hear about it. Now that you know the state's secret. Sure, dude, sure. Okay, situation time. If we take a look at our next party member number 6, we have Leon, who is a fell pool, of all things. See, we haven't seen a fell pool yet in Second Story, but they were all over the place in the first game. Fortunately, he only is able to write, which we're going to have to maybe fix that up a little bit. And yeah, he's our second kid. He's 10, unlike Princess, who is 16. Still considered a kid character, but anyways. Leon attacks with books in a very unique way. You think he would just, like, smack him with them. And that was, like, my first impression when I was first playing this game. It's like, he attacks with books, like, he just, like, smacks demons with books. Okay, maybe that's true, but I'm gonna fiddle around with that. He is, let's just put, he's an unconventional spellcaster. And the other thing is like, okay, I can't put anything into Perseverance there. Because, yeah, he comes with a completely different set of spells. Or third set, technically. We have Rena's, Celine's, and now Leon's, who deals a lot more with, shall we say, darkness-based attacks. Word of Death, Shadow Bolts, Black Saber. So now we're getting a couple of the enemy skills that are coming in there. So at first I'm kind of thinking like, oh, Leon's actually kind of all right there. I'm kind of excited to use a lot of the enemy skills against them. So we'll see how that goes. And give Claude a little bit of a break for the next section, really. This has all the air of requesting to go to the bathroom in the middle of class. Like, I've been given permission to go to this other room in the school, sir. But then everybody's just like, oh, Master Leon, you're such a wonderful, wonderful person. No one can compare to you. I'm like, yeah, no wonder he has that kind of complex. Because not only do we have to do it once at the information desk, but we also have to do it at the outskirts of town. It should be no more than 5 minutes, and then we'll be right back. Sure. Whatever you say. Hilton slightly changes in this case. And this being 4 soldiers who are just around in order to, one, kind of send us off, but also be realistic here of going like, we need more people. Yeah, they kind of give also hints about what you'll expect in the next dungeon. Booby trap switches, making sure you're stocked up on provisions and healing resources. And the other thing about that is when you're taking a look at, say, a walkthrough, for instance, it recommends, some walkthroughs recommend that you get specifically the ability to cure paralysis and stone and petrification, or have accessories that make you immune to it. The problem with that idea there is, well, you can get the cure paralysis and cure stone from town before you leave for the Hoffmann Ruins, but unless you are pickpocketing, you have no ability to get an accessory to cure to make you immune to paralysis. And in addition to that, even if you're pickpocketing and doing everything you could possibly do in this game that is available to you and you're taking full advantage of it, it is impossible to get an accessory that makes you immune to stone at this point. So if there's anything I'm recommending, get something that cures stone, but more so cure paralysis. Because you'll be surprised how little you will actually get petrified in this next dungeon. So we had to set sail for it. When you look at the world map, of all the dots we have been to, we have not been to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots left on the world map. We haven't been to the one that is in the far east on the north part of the Liqueur continent. We've not been to the one on the northeast, surrounded by the supposedly like ice that's around it. There's the 2 on the northwest, and the last one, which is on that sandy part on the southwest. Turns out the Hoffmann Ruins are separated from everything in the northeast. I'm just gonna get chill in this kind of still space. Yeah, hidden just over in this beach area, you can head back whenever you feel like it. Otherwise, you have this huge area with only one place to go. And unfortunately, Star Ocean really doesn't do the hidden places on the world map like other places, like other RPGs would.
I won't lose. I'm not scared.
So, Leon, seeing as he's mostly spellcasting focus, kind of get an idea of what he could possibly do when we deal with one of the most dangerous enemies right off the bat in this forest area. The salamander. It's a bit difficult to deal with.
Flame launcher! Deep freeze!
Deep freeze is one of the...
Flame launcher!
Whoop, careful. Deep freeze is going to be one of the go-to spells for Leon when you first start off with him. Don't expect to freeze any enemies because a lot of the time they're just not susceptible to it compared to characters, like we saw a long time ago with Rena.
Flame launcher! You're not.
Sometimes debuffs can be a little bit effective. And,
Launcher!
come on, Opera, stop people. Sometimes debuffs can be helpful, but they have to connect. So things like Acid Rain, getting rid of defense, or Deep Mist, making it less likely for others to hit your characters can be a little bit helpful. But again, only if they hit.
Flame launcher! Full! Deep mist!
I'm also just making sure that Leon actually says the name of the spell. That means I have it in the voice collection.
Black saber!
It's really nice having Black Saber. Thing is, even though Black Saber was particularly dangerous to us a little while ago, its usefulness kind of runs out very quickly. Like, it's good for this dungeon, but afterwards, you're gonna get better spells pretty quickly.
Good night.
But you're gonna get good experience from this third dungeon. If you weren't grinding from the Sanctuary of Linga, the Hoffmann Ruins is kind of considered one of the places where grinding can be a good idea. So here we are. A screenshot that is on the back of the box. With a conspicuous screen right over here, which does nothing for the moment. The Hoffmann Ruins. Gives a strange first impression. Because when you're coming up to this area of going like, this is very unnatural. This place here. Okay, Leon, you've been here before. But again, being here before doesn't mean anything when you're not going into detail about how deep you went in. 'Cause apparently you got some ore from here, but that could have been from anywhere. It's like, yeah, I did this all by myself. According to this, no? There's also the use of Big Brother here. Big Brother Claude, and also with Rena's side, Big Sister Claude. This is a frustrating part of the game, because when it comes to Leon and setting him up as a character at this point, as we get this wonderful door opening, integration of the CG from Lynx, everything goes up. You'd think some of it would go down, but anyway. They really have to cram a lot of characterization for Leon in such a short amount of time. And by short, I mean this dungeon and a little bit after it. That's kind of it. So the Big Brother, Big Sister, I think is just a weird translation kind of idea. Where in the original Japanese, there would have been some sort of what's the word? Honorifics? In order to address both of them? We also get to say goodbye to the 7th Ray because we just got a good attack upgrade. Her hit does take a beating here. But it also gives us the light element, which is going to be a little bit helpful moving forward. In fact, there's going to be a bunch of things that Opera is going to get from this dungeon, weirdly enough. But that also comes back to what kind of place the Hoffmann Ruins really are. Before I get to that, finishing up with Leon, even when in later versions, especially Second Story R, they kind of take out the Big Brother, Big Sister because it really didn't make sense and made it a little bit more just like passive, just like dude, almost. Because, yeah, Leon really isn't going to be respecting our characters very quickly in that regard. So, let's play around with the Link combo. I put it on Presses just to kind of show off what's going here. When it is equipped and you go into your killer move settings, you'll notice right below her name, LC is off. No other character will have it. If you press triangle, you'll bring up a new menu, which is the ability to steal killer moves. In order for the link combo to work, you have to steal the ability for another character to use their killer moves so that Princess can get a second set applied to her. So if you steal from Opera, for instance, now not only can Princess use Mole on the L1 button, but right after she uses Mole, she could use either Rocket Punch or Hawk Step. You can only set it to one thing, so you can't duplicate it on both of them there, but because I stole it from Opera, that means that she is no longer able to use any special move. She is stuck to using basic attacks. It makes the steal killer moves like not really all that good, except there's a loophole. I'm setting up Opera there. You can steal the killer move ability from spellcasters. The thing about that, though, is spellcasters don't have killer moves. So as long as you have a spellcaster in your party, you can use the link combo whenever you want with almost no repercussion. It's at that point where you can actually start experimenting with what pairs of skills per character actually work really well and move into the next in order to maximize the amount of damage you can do. It will be a long time before you're able to go, it's like, okay, here's the perfect combinations. Because it's going to involve a lot of making sure your characters continue getting levels. Now, the Hoffmann Ruins. I had a lot of questions going into this dungeon here because when I first played it, I'm going like, okay, this was the dungeon where a lot of tunnels are kind of moving around. You can kind of get lost in it a little bit because some of the areas look like others. But the first question I had was, okay, the Hoffmann Ruins. Why are they called the Hoffmann Ruins? Where did the name come from? And I had to do a bunch of digging. And unfortunately, there isn't much of an answer. Now, I love that Leon... I think an unfortunate thing with Leon is I would love him to actually hit somebody with a book, but no, he just opens the book and summons this spirit. I don't really know what to kind of describe it as, because again, you get no explanation for it. There's some sort of spirit who is able to swing their sword for Leon in order to do a little bit of damage. It's generally quick, and it kind of saves a bunch of time in order to just like cast spells as you go. But yeah, going around the Hoffmann Ruins here, there really isn't enough backstory to establish this place. And you think, as the decades have gone on with this game, you think they would have like put a little bit more into it, but no, there really isn't. The only thing, like, even when I was looking into like the other media for second story, like the manga or the show, Star Ocean EX, they really don't go into it a whole lot. Because, man, does this place leave a lot of questions for me. Now, that guard did say there was a bunch of booby trap switches around here. Just wonderful plungers here. You can go and pull them whenever you want. You never know what is going to happen until you actually do. I just like that they do zoom in on this particular thing, because it goes, okay, this is a moment where you're able to go and say, hey, there's a plunger here. You're able to interact with something. Problem with it is that most of the plungers that you'll find in this place do absolutely nothing except damage you. There we go. Damage you by how much? Half your current HP. So if you're at full, you will go down by 50% there. If you only have 400 HP, you'll go down to 200 HP. It's just a straight 50% of where you currently are. It's not bad to recover from, so it's not really that much of a risk. But when it comes to some of the enemies that are in the Hoffmann Ruins there, you kind of want to be topped up on your HP. The other thing that isn't really explained all that much is back in the room with the first plunger, or even to the side as I'm leaving, is the murals that are around this place here. There is no explanation for them. They are just here. And I think that's another thing about this version and the troubles it kind of has with its translation and what's going on with it, because a lot of them have this strangely Christian/Catholic connotation to them. So the less attention that is brought to them, the better, I suppose. Because I will say that topic is going to come up a lot there. Holy Mists, that we just picked up, are really good HP restorative items. 60% to all of your party? That's pretty good.
Looks strong. It's
All right.
tough.
One of the most difficult combinations of enemies that you'll find in here are two salamanders. We've already seen salamanders and what they can do all the way back in the Mountain Palace, but if you didn't do any Mountain Palace stuff, this is probably your first instance of dealing with them. So again, the same tactic applies. Keep your distance, and if they're going to be shooting their breath at you, chances are you're going to die from it, unless you're able to interrupt them. They also have a very high guard, so keeping them flanked is going to work in your favor. Except for Opera completely eating it. Great. Also, you'll notice that Opera not only died, but she's also paralyzed at the same time. That makes healing her a little bit of a problem with the current items that I do have, because not only can we revive her, but she's still paralyzed afterwards. So keep that in mind. Just because she might have hit points doesn't mean that she's usable after she dies. Gotta make sure the P is gone. So, cure paralysis. Because that is what these salamanders do. They have a high chance of paralyzing you without warning.
Black Saber!
There are two things in this specific battle arena that can be used to your benefit. One, really not so much because of where it's placed, but the other one is the literal minecart. Ow. Oh my goodness. The literal minecart that's coming down with a bloodstain on the front of it. At least I'm calling it a bloodstain. It will do 50 damage if you get hit by it, and usually it usually knocks you out of the way so you don't get hit by it. But it's not guaranteed that's going to happen. So if you're in just the right area, it can hit you multiple times to the point where the game will just simply say, you're getting hit by it so much that we might as well instantly kill you. This can happen to your characters, but it can also happen to enemies as well. So depending on how you're positioning characters, or just with luck, you can make some fights a little bit easier. I wouldn't rely on it, but it's a good extra thing to have. Here's another plunger. Now, all the plungers, the detonation devices, whatever you want to call them, some places will just say, hey, because the consequence of hitting them is really no biggie and you can heal up after them, just might as well just activate all of them. This one is the only one, in this version of the game anyways, that actually leads to an extra area with some goodies. It's not required in order to beat the dungeon, but it does give you some good things, like the Zephyr earring. Here's a weird space too. This underground just barracks that is here with all of these bunk beds. Again, I would love to have more context as to what this place actually was, because one, the Hoffmann Ruins has no connection to like any name, at least explanation-wise. One-up pudding. All right, what's a one-up pudding? What does it look like? Oh, a wonderful flan on a wonderful glass dessert case. Lovely. But it's really good because it completely restores HP and MP. It is, or at least HP. But it's in this place that is, at least to the information that is available about this particular location, hundreds of years old? There is also more information about this place where groups have come in order to mine the specific area for its ore and minerals and whatnot, which is the entire reason why we're here. But there really isn't clear information that this is actively used now, apart from, hey, there's so many monsters that it is too dangerous in order to mine here. But according to everything that is around, it's at least been inactive for a small amount of time. This group is also particularly dangerous because you have the archers in the back. These ones can poison you very easily. And in the front you have the garters, literally called garters, who might not have a lot of HP, but their defenses are rather good at this point. Careful with the minecart. Oh boy, this is bad. Thank you, Renna, for the save a little bit. Nope, this is not gonna work. This is not good. Oh boy. Yeah, there's just strength in numbers in terms of this one. And when a lot of the characters here are not able to hit the garters for a lot of damage at this point, apart from Pressus, who is able to at least punch them pretty well. They have a lot of magic immunities as well, apart from like Starlight or Ray, in order to do some crowd control, so that would be something that Renna could absolutely do if she wasn't on healing duty a whole lot. Jesus. Oh my god. You just hear that, and it goes terribly for Opera. Thank you, Presses, for the punch.
That was close. Hey, it's over.
Well, this is not a good position to be in. 3 poisoned characters, 1 dead. Lots green. It's weird how the green tone is applied to each sprite as well, because Leon looks a little bit more slimy than some of the other ones. Again, just because we've resurrected a character doesn't mean that it cures them of status ailments. So this dungeon isn't particularly dangerous, I would say, compared to at least the Sanctuary of Linga, because the major threat with the Sanctuary is what is your level going into it? Because if your level is too low, you're going to get a beating until it balances you out. Whereas the third dungeon is pretty much just continuing the flow a little bit better, because whatever level you're coming out of the Sanctuary with is relatively where you should be for entering into the Hoffmann Ruins. So, say for instance, if you're leaving the Sanctuary of Linga at around level 30, by the time you're leaving the Hoffmann Ruins, you should be around level 40 almost. A peepaf. What does that mean? Peep what? It's an accessory, so I'm gonna take a look at it from there. Here's our peepaf. A mysterious charm that cuts the wearer's peeping time in half. That doesn't tell me what peeping means, other than telling me that we're going to be peeping half the time. I think it's one of the things that you're constantly looking up in terms of this game and what it uses for its terminology, because peeping just means when you're stunned. in combat, whenever you have the stars over your head. That just means, hey, you will spend half as much time being stunned in battle as you would do normally. It's not a great accessory. It does come through a little bit in a pinch, but that pinch is so specific that you might as well have another accessory on you anyway. Now again, these places that we're looking through, it looks like it's been used relatively recently. I wouldn't put it like years ago, because all of these supplies here could absolutely be used in some way, shape, or form, especially as storage. Whatever things might honestly be in here, I couldn't really tell you, but when there's so much of it, I'm like, okay, Liqueur could certainly use a whole bunch of these resources, especially for the oncoming onslaught of demons. The other thing about this place is that even the encounter rate of the Hoffmann Ruins is much lower than the Sanctuary. You're not getting into fights like every 5 to 10 steps like you were in the Sanctuary. It's pretty average compared to that. Sturm. I know a character named Sturm, but I know there's no connection to it. I just had to find a really good name for whatever values were going to be put onto it. This combination also isn't really good either. And I would love Deep Freeze more if, when using Deep Freeze, it hit all of the enemies and not just in a specific area of effect around the chosen enemy you're actually hitting.
Thank you.
At this point, I'm also remembering, hey, Opera is really good when she has MP, so if you could get somebody in order to do some MP restoration, just throw some blackberries at her, that's a good thing to have. Yeah, Leon's gonna die. Leon's absolutely gonna die. Goodbye. We also did get one of Rena's, honestly, last, attack spells, Tractor Beam, which is kind of one of her go-tos. But the other thing about it that I kind of deal with whenever she's using it is the voice sample. If you ever go and hear it, but we'll hopefully be able to hear it again, it's just off compared to the rest of the voice samples and voice recordings that they did with her voice actor. Because I don't think that the English voice actor actually did a line for Tractor Beam. I think they skipped it. So they just had to put in the Japanese voice acting for Tractor Beam. And my only evidence for that is that it sounds weird. There's another one. Next to a ladder that goes nowhere. And this place is really annoying when it comes to just changing the perspective on you, putting you in a new screen and just plopping you in different places like that. It does well for at least atmosphere, because you're kind of supposed to be on edge in this place. The music kind of helps with that. The perspective changes of just closing in on specific screens that are nice and still also help me keep me on edge. Ah, there it is. Our first actual paralysis check of the game. Now, if anybody is going to benefit from being immune to paralysis, it's going to be Opera at this point. She keeps getting smacked around. But I know when I think it's going to be helpful on one particular character, it's probably not. Sturm Ring just increases hit and avoid, and also gives a little bit of luck. which is actually helpful for Opera when we put the light box on her. It gives her a little bit more hit, restores that a little bit. Just helps to balance out. Again, a lot of this stuff can be used in order to just kind of make sure Opera's ready to go. Everyone else gets the scraps. As I'm realizing I have a lot more scraps than I think I do. Yeah, just keep the recoil, I suppose, there. Now, I think, yeah, I'm just gonna go around because there should be one more mural that we haven't seen yet. It's along an entire hallway. I'm pretty sure. I think it's down this way? Yeah, it's this one. Again, they do not mention anything about this. They're just around. So I'm like, okay, who made them? Why are they here? What did they have connection to? We don't get anything from it. It's rather frustrating for me. Because in any other game, there would have been at least like points within the dungeon where the characters would stop in order to just like simply observe them. But Star Ocean doesn't do that.
I don't need to be involved, right?
So there's these weird enemies, little teddy bears. They're called kitties. They're rather rare to show up because they are relatively non-threatening. Although it is hard to hit them for any damage. Come on, Opera. But when you do, because like Opera's main attack of just swinging against them will do 0 damage. But Pressus, in terms of punching them, will actually do damage. Some spells will also do damage as well, as the barrel explodes. The kitties have the ability to drop reverse dolls, so if you actually wanted to do a little bit of grinding and hopefully fight a bunch of those specific enemies, you can get a bunch of reverse dolls for free. And again, they're very valuable. There's also this thing, Spring. It's a painting, and it's this painting we can use because even though it doesn't say what it does, it will heal us in both body and spirit. Full heal. It's an elixir, pretty much. Or a mega elixir in this case. It does it for all party members. If this is the Ways game of actually teaching you that, hey, art can actually be really good and helpful for you, I don't know if it did the job very well. Again, Leon is supposed to, like, know how to get here, so, you know, finding it... Man. It's like, I found it. I lost it, but I found it. But you're supposed to know... You're supposed to have been here before, dude. I'm just pointing out that, hey, Rena's pendant has not been mentioned since, what, Salva? If not Arlia, before we left.
Are we really going to do this?
Oh, please!
Alright, this boss fight.
Yeah,
2 hairfanxes.
come on!
Just goat demons. They are kind of a test to see how you are doing managing multiple enemies and what they can potentially do.
Follow Ernest!
Because if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing at this point, you're gonna die. Just like what Opera did. The hairfanxes can pack a punch. They have a bunch of different ways, weirdly, that they can attack you. First on extending horns, opening their mouth, and another mouth will come out of them in order to hit you with a fist, I think, if I'm looking at the sprite sheet correctly. But if you leave one of them alone, they will also start casting Thunderstorm, which can hurt you if you're not prepared. And if you're definitely not doing enough damage, both of them can do Thunderstorms one after another. That could be bad. So the goal of this boss fight is to divide and conquer. You're supposed to really have like one or two characters hitting one of those bosses while the other two hit the other. It does involve you switching between characters to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and not just standing around. Can be a little bit annoying to do that there. Black Saber is kind of where you want to be with controlling Leon, if you are controlling Leon, because it does the most damage. And if you have it set up correctly, Black Saber can hit both of them. Although Black Saber is weird, depending on what you target. If you are targeting an enemy that is closer, hoping that because it passes through the enemy and keeps going, there is a chance that the spell will only hit the enemy that you're targeting and then will just dissipate without hitting the second one. There's also the matter of elevation. We've seen Black Saber being used before to hit Claude while he's in the air, so it will shoot straight up. I find that Black Saber a lot of the time weirdly will go up on its own and won't stay parallel to the ground. Like that. It will just go right up. Once it's hit its target, it will do whatever it wants. So with that kind of inconsistency, Black Saber is a alright skill. But if it's not doing exactly what you wanted it to do, it can be troublesome. The other thing is MP management, especially for Opera. Opera is really good here if you have Alpha on 1, if you're bothering to use it. Spread Ray can also be helpful there. It gets her out of the way because it allows her to jump up and then hit. It can be slow as a result. Especially when she won't get out of the way in order to use her abilities. And the other thing I'm kind of not entirely remembering, there we go, thank you Leon for just at least getting an entire Leon almost died there, is kind of forgetting that with Princess I put the link combo on her, which meant that her MP went down a lot faster than I thought it was going to, so now I have two characters who are just like doing regular attacks there. But is at least good to the end.
Goodbye.
Once one of them is down, you can definitely clown on the other.
I did it!
2 levels for Leon. Leon has 2 increased.
I did it. I did it. I'm good.
So there's that boss fight. Strength in numbers, divide and conquer. So let's see what the other group can do here. What can Bowman do? Bowman can actually do very well against this enemy here, depending on what skills you're honestly using. In particular, Spirit Attack, or more appropriately, Poison Pills, and make sure that one of the enemies is just either taking damage or constantly having to guard against Bowman. The other thing about this team is, because they've been leveling up there, Celine can also learn Thunderstorm. So it's nice to be able to put the spell that they are using against you, against them, at the same time, which is good. Does quite a lot of damage as well. You just have to make sure that, again, MP stays up. If you're someone who is taking Bowman and spamming his skills left and right, he's gonna run out very quickly. Pay that in mind. Otherwise, it's Poison Pills time. Poison pills sometimes does multiple hits of damage. And that all depends on whether or not the pills in general are hitting both of the enemies there. He throws out sometimes one, sometimes two, sometimes it splits up into three. But it depends on his proficiency, of course. That ran really well because Celine was able to interrupt. So again, use Thunderstorm against them. Excellent thing to do there. So a little bit like we were echoing there. Whoops. Oh yeah, if you're on top of it, it works pretty well there. Ashton, you can kind of, you kind of can work, you kind of can't. In terms of this one, I do have the link combo also on Ashton, so he's using two skills at once. The problem with it is that a lot of his skills also are just not fast enough there. Like, you can get like cross slash that goes into a different skill there, but by the time he's using his second one, he's probably being hit by something. So it's kind of a moment to just like watch out for him. Fortunately though, Rena and Celine can kind of cover Ashton a little bit, and he can be used as a little bit of a shield. I was hoping for something else that could be used for... Ow. Damn it! Yeah, indeed. Something else that could be used for MP restoring instead of blackberries. But you know, stick with what you know. Like, oh my goodness. Careful, Rena, you're kind of in the middle of everything. One thing I have not bothered to use there so far is the skill Herbal Sciences, because seeing as I've been using berries a whole lot, the more levels you have in Herbal Science, the better characters are healed by berries in particular. Because right now, what they're getting, I think there's like a couple levels in some of the characters, so they're able to get maybe, instead of the 30 you usually get there, I think they're closer to maybe 40.
I did it!
Yeah.
But yeah, not too bad of a fight there. Again, the divide and conquer is honestly important. And then you're able to gang up on the one that dies second. Hi. You have no immunity against that sort of thing. What, desensitization? You've been doing pretty good up until that point, though. Well, no wonder no one was able to tell us the name of the material. With a generic name like Energy Stone, I don't think they know what specifically it is even called. Opera, I'm getting a case of deja vu with your text boxes. Well, if you don't, chances are you're not going to remember the pendant business for a little bit, which is completely understandable. With that, we got what we came for, so we are able to just go. There isn't anything else specifically that we are able to find. And again, there is that mural over to the left, which has all of those crosses over the person's body. Again, what are they for? We will never know. Why is there such a difference between the mining area and the fact that there's this elevator that pretty much like crushes you shut? Why is there such like technological difference between what is here and what we explore? I guess it's not for us to know. Depending on if you have opera or not, and if you've done everything that you need to do, she will run off at this point. Otherwise, you would just leave. But if you've done everything right, we have one last thing to do here in the dungeon. No, it's just the script. I'm just gonna put it up to that. It's stiff for a reason. I don't think we ever got a sense of how long Opera has been chasing Ernest. Well, now Leon is the bad guy. Sure. This is going exactly the way it should absolutely go. Because, yeah, this is exactly how it's supposed to go. I don't know, you just bust a hole into your boyfriend? Well, never mind, he's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's good. Like, honestly, what could Ernest possibly be wearing in order to withstand a blast from a rifle like that? Oh my god, it's a ghost. Literally. It's a ghost. Again, this entire series of events going through this time right now is just not explained well. So, we get another boss fight. This one is much better to deal with compared to the two Hairfangses down below. This ghost doesn't really have a whole lot of things that it can do to you, to be honest. And because it's a super special boss, I kind of want to show it's just like, yeah, it has, on Galaxy anyways, 12,300 hit points. Yeah, there's that voice line. Again, it doesn't sound like it's from the English voice actor. It sounds like they did not have any time in order to record it or just forgot So it's like, oh, well, let's just use the Japanese voice actor for that one. To be honest, you can finish up this fight surprisingly quickly. Mostly uses Bloodsucker and uses a whip in order to fight a ghost whip. But there's not much else to really say about this thing, really. It's a reskin of a sprite that we've seen a few times already. But where did this ghost come from? Where did it show up? Why is it possessing Ernest? Why does it want the energy stone? Guess is as good as mine.
Weaker than I thought.
All right. Good job, everybody. I guess that means that Ernest is dead. Even though he wasn't in the fight, just the ghost was in the fight. I mean, I don't even take the apology there. Like, you had a reason in order to go and do what you did. All right, let's turn around. Let's get a good look at you. I don't know. Again, I think this is a weird translation where it's like, in the States? There is no context for that. Ernest is from America. What intergalactic states are you talking about? And that little blurb about a heraldic civilization is kind of the only thing you get for the Hoffmann Ruins. There really isn't much else to it. It's kind of annoying that way. And yeah, because Ernest is here, opera founder, found him, there really isn't any reason for her to continue being with us. So we get a choice. Do we keep them, or do we let them go? Yeah, you can go through all of the effort in order to get to the ability to get Ernest, and you can say no. And saying no, honestly, is pretty interesting because of, one, the dialogue that you're going to get from this, and two, Opera's a really good character and you can just give her up, which at this point you might want to because there's other characters you might want to recruit, because if you get rid of Opera now, if you wanted to get Ashton instead, you can go and double back on that. I love that all of the, like, hiding it between Claude and Opera, like, Claude is just saying it right out loud. And this is a really good piece. Hey, Claude's in a bad position there. If Ernest and Opera are going to be leaving and trying to figure out a way to leave, that is an opportunity for Claude in order to get a message out for himself, which is kind of the only opportunity that Claude ever gets. And you only get this opportunity in this dialogue if you refuse Opera and Ernest. Because there they go. Maybe, hopefully, Claude will get a rescue party soon. No idea. Now, because Opera left, she does take the equipment that you have on her, but she leaves behind the accessories. So at least the game does that. There are RPGs where characters leave and they will take everything that they had on you. But yeah, we've come too far with all the effort there in order to say, you can leave. Because yeah, if you're going through all of this effort in order to recruit Opera and then ultimately Ernest, because you saw that Ernest was in the manual, I suppose, why wouldn't you see what he is able to do? Because, hey, he must be great if it takes this much effort in order to get him, right? And now we have our 7th party member, Ernest. Oh. Really filling out the party now. Technically right now we only have 1 spot left for a party member. Alright, there's Ernest. He's gonna need to catch up a little bit. It's only a level 25. Awkwardly, his sprite walks weirdly. I always feel like he has like a peppy step to him. And he's gonna be our music guy. He has pitch and sense of rhythm. And music is gonna come up a lot later, so it's good that we have someone in order to do those talents. Alright, lovely. So, Ernest though. He's our whip user. You might have seen some whips available for sale event on and off and going like, okay, who's using whips in the party? It's Ernest. Unfortunately, Ernest is not great. He's not really a great party member for all of the effort in order to get him into your party in the first place. Like, some of his abilities are a little bit, shall we say, inspired. How they're able to use a whip user in this case, because whips are very uncommon weapons in RPGs there. So giving him something like that is rather cool, I will admit. The problem is that when it comes to his output, there are better people that you're honestly using so far that are much better than him in any regard.
Dimension.
Like, Dimension Whip is him being able to just open up a pocket dimension that his whip is able to come out of in any direction, which is super inspired. Like, I love it, to be completely honest. There we go. And then being able to do whirlwinds, of course, is also really cool there. It's again his speed, which is honestly strange to deal with, because you think that he's in the middle between being a short range and a long range user in terms of his whip abilities, would make him a little bit versatile, but it's better when you have a character who is able to do a specific type of attack, whether it be short range or long range. So Claude being short range, Opera being long range, and then something to just cover the distance between you and an enemy. Ernest doesn't really have that, especially on first glance, which makes him going oh, well, I got my character just for this? It's honestly not that great. You feel a little bit sour when you're using Ernest. But I'll try to use him to the best of my ability and going forward. And in terms of the Hoffmann Ruins, that is kind of it for that section. Just that landmass. There's only the one reason to go there, and now we can just head back. So that leaves only 4 dots left on the map to explore. Also, you may not know it, but you can control the camera with the boat. Just with the shoulder buttons. It's not just static camera. You can do whatever you want. Spin it around, make yourself dizzy. Doesn't matter. So after this long journey, we've made our way back with one new person in tow, and no one's going to question where he came from. Yes, good job, Leon. You did it by yourself. Good job. We just have to get back to the castle at this point. Pass by it. I know the soldiers have something new to say in order to boast about Master Leon doing amazing. Oh, wonderful. So respected. And that's exactly what we'll do next time. After we look at some private actions, we just have to head back to town. Head back to the castle. And see where we're going with this. I'm going to pop up here and there today with the private actions, but I'll see you next time, everyone. Oddly enough, this part of the private action was changed in later versions, where if you said a woman, a man would come out. And honestly, I kind of like this version a little bit better with the dog coming out, because even though opera's lessons are pretty good, the humbleness of that one is a good version to include. Some private actions are actually really important to do because not only do you get something immediate, but this one in particular will set up a private action for way, way, way later in the game. It's one of only a few private actions that do this. The aphrodisiac is an interesting item to hold on to if you're choosing to do this route of the private action, because it's an item that is able to change relationship values between characters there. This version of it really doesn't say a whole lot about what hidden values are really changed, but in later versions they pretty much just set it to a very set amount for each character that is in your party. There is a fourth route to this private action, but it does involve you spending most of your money. You do have to be under 2,000 full in order to get this last one, but if you do that, it's honestly worth it. Not only is the all-purpose knife a decent weapon to have in the beginnings of the game, but it is a key item if you're wanting to do any sort of good cooking.